Okay, now I know that everyone is asking tonight, eager tonight to know who are the Agusta Patrakars. Well, frankly, I don't know who the Agusta Patrakars are. So, you know, for those calling our newsroom to say who named the Agusta Patrakars, I don't know them. What I do know is that there is a piece of paper which shows that monthly installments of 275,000 euros for a period of 22 months, totaling some 2 crore rupees per month, 2 crore rupees divided by 20 journalists who were bought allegedly by this company, 2 crore divided by 20, that's approximately 10 lakhs per journalist on an average was paid to 20 journalists who are the Agusta Patrakars. I don't know who they are, but it's a sensitive question. But I think it's time, as I began by saying, that on an issue of ethics and morality, it's time for some deep thinking on this whole issue. And I'm not saying anything.
Is it so difficult for Arnab, for the so-called efficient intelligence agencies, IB, CBI, RAW, to find out who these so-called 20 journalists are?
Well, they should find.
Is it so difficult if they are so efficient?
Well,
they were so efficient about 2004 murder of Irshad Jahan, right, but they are not efficient about finding out these 20 journalists.
It's a good question.
For the last 40 years, I am not involved in it.
Yeah.
So why can't they find out 20 journalists? After all, how many journalists are there who are covering all the defense deals?
Yes.
So I think it should be a list of just about 50 or 60 people. And if IB and CBI and RAW cannot find out who they are utterly inefficient.
Okay. So I took your point.
Yeah.
Now the point is, I don't know. I'm just putting this aside. Now the bigger issue also on this whole issue. I'm just saying, sir. I said that, you see. You can't brush this aside.
No, but if we can name politicians...
You can't brush it aside.
If we are accusing...
Can you brush it aside?
If you are alleging politicians...
Can you brush it aside?
But if you are naming politicians, why don't you name the journalists?
Because I have the names of the politicians, I don't have the names of the journalists.
Names of the politicians are also inferences.
Well, names
of the politicians are also inferences, there is no proof.
It's all right, sir. I'm saying that we have been at the forefront of reporting the Agusta scam. When we were reporting the Agusta scam, I didn't find great interest in the large sections of the media on a 3,500 crore scam. All of Italy is interested, the Italian media is interested, but the Indian media was not interested. Now there is this angle, I'm only reporting the facts, let's not be touchy about it. I think all channels should start reporting Agusta Patrakars as well. Anyway, let's go to the issue. Now on the point of national security, on the issue of national security, I address this question first to RSN and Maroof Raza to put this in perspective. Now, I have papers here with me, which is the statement of the case, the Ministry of Defense statement of the case on the contractual violations by Agustawestland International Limited. If it can just be shown in, right? And now I'll turn the pages, viewers. I'm going to turn the pages and I'm going to come to one specific part which I did circle in red earlier today. Viewers, bear with me for just a minute before I show you the paper, the page which is really the page that all of India is talking about. Viewers, please note this, and I have a red pen with me. I'm going to mark this out. If you're near a TV set, please see this. Viewers, what does this read? That AWIL and its group companies were found to be in possession of classified and confidential documents of the Government of India and the Indian Air Force. This is not something which we can disregard, because RSN, I put this question to you. If bribes are paid and the company has the temerity to steal classified and confidential papers from the Indian Air Force headquarters and the Ministry of Defense in South Block, then they can steal information about India's missile systems and our nuclear preparedness as well. RSN Singh and Maroof Raza on the implications of the security sellout, the security breach. RSN.
I'm sorry to say this has been happening right since independence. Look, we are the second largest arms importer in the world, amounting to about $3,000 million a year. Second only, we are next to Saudi Arabia. So over the years, the arms lobby has acquired murderous proportions. Let me tell you, murderous proportions. And somewhere, some people in uniform start getting subverted once they come close to the corridors of power. Now you are saying about, you have a case that is a fraud deal because it is not the original equipment manufacturer. There was another case just a few 2-3 years back about Tatra vehicles. The same was the case. So therefore, sir, you are absolutely right. When I say murderers, these are the arms lobby decides as to what would be the succession plan. You see, under the last dispensation, what happened?
No, the question is simple. One second. RSN, let's not dilly-dally. Let's go to the straight issue. India's security has been compromised, for God's sake, Maroof. Whatever, the politicians can sell out this country. They can take the bribes, but they cannot allow a private, defense manufacturer to get into the Indian Air Force headquarters and start stealing papers. We know the implications of the Navy War Room.
Sir, that is what I'm coming to.
Can we disregard this tonight?
Sir,
RSN, let's cut the chase tonight, okay? Fact of the matter is, so far, Agustawestland was talked about and investigated as a financial scam involving middlemen and lobbyists. Papers with us today, and even Sanjay Hegde and Rajiv Desai, Aryama Sundaram, Kumar Ketkar, Daniel Francis, Asif Bhamla will all agree with me today that there needs to be a massive investigation into the breach of India's national security by this company.
But which also which also means that our so-called patriotic army,
What do you mean so-called patriotic army? What do you mean so-called patriotic? What do you mean take back those words. What do you mean by so-called patriotic army? What do you mean by so-called patriotic army, sir? Sir, what do you mean by so-called patriotic army? Sir, take back those words. Sir, take back those words. Sir, take back those words. Sir, take back the words.
You said the
Sir, take back the words, sir.
Are involved.
Sir, I said there was a security breach. Sir, please. Sir, please. Sir, please. Sir, not compromise. Sir, please. That's how far you'll go to protect the politicians. I want to get a response from RSN Singh. RSN Singh on the other side. RSN is responding. RSN is responding.
Obviously,
Maroof,
so-called.
1 minute. How convenient tonight that we can blame our men in uniform, but we will not speak a word against the politicians. Maroof is responding. Maroof is responding. Let's show the papers as well. Maroof. Maroof, please. Maroof.
Don't try and conceal your corruption behind the uniform. Remember, the succession plan in the army was changed at the behest of the arms lobby. There were a series of 13 accidents in the Navy, and the moment the new naval chief acquired office,
Maroof. No, Sanjay Hegde. GVL wants to come into the debate. GVL. One second.
May I just take off from where Colonel...
Just a minute. Let's get everyone in. RSN, the point is this. The point is this.
A technical side and a public opinion side.
Okay, RSN.
You are getting
RSN, Sanjay Hegde and Maroof Raza, please. Sanjay and Maroof Raza, please. Maroof and then Sanjay. Please, gentlemen, we are on an inflection point as far as our coverage of this story is concerned. Maroof, just a word I have for our viewers tonight, and our viewers, Maroof, have faith in our reporting, and we have been reporting this from day one. We have received threats. We've faced boycotts. We are reporting tonight that sensitive, classified and confidential documents of the Indian Air Force has been transported to a foreign country in what is a big breach of national security. Hence, the Agusta scam implicitly becomes much bigger. Yes, Maroof. Maroof Raza, please. Maroof. And I know that this reporting of this story is getting different responses. I just request you to be patient with each other. Maroof Raza, please. Maroof.
Arnab, with respect to everybody's views, I just want to highlight 2 or 3 points which haven't yet come out as yet in some of the discussion you've had prior to Newshour also. The first thing to understand is none of this happens in isolation.
That's right.
There would be certain people up the hierarchical order who would have ensured that these documents are passed on to the Agustawestland representative, and they are not just people in service headquarters, but people who come under the Ministry of Defence. So there is a complete chain between politician, bureaucratic and uniformed personnel at some level or the other, conniving to put the classification and classified documents in the hands of the people it shouldn't have gone to. The first thing. The second thing is, Agustawestland, as you had brought out earlier, was not the original equipment manufacturer, and I can't understand how Mr. Clean or his sidekicks allowed a document like this to get their approval when it was not an OEM. Now that's the standard rule of the DPP that was formulated in 2003, and since then the OEM has become a benchmark for anybody to do business with the Ministry of Defence. Now if that's not an original equipment manufacturer, what the hell were you doing by signing those papers?
I don't know.
Thirdly, no blacklisting as yet had been done fully of Agustawestland. Otherwise, as recently as the Deaf Expo in Goa, Agustawestland would not have been represented there. So Agustawestland is still operating on Indian soil despite claims of their being blacklisted. How? People have to answer in various departments of the government. And most importantly, and that's a point that's not come out, that I am surprised why Agustawestland went to such extremes to try and get the contract when, based on the criteria that was spelt out after the NSA intervened with the SPG's approval, it was the only helicopter that met the criteria. The Eurocopter had been sidelined.
Yeah, but they paid money to get that done, Maroof.
The Sikorsky S-92 did not meet the requirement.
Yeah, but Maroof,
so why were they bribing? I can't understand.
Maroof,
what was the hurry to bribe?
The simple answer to that very relevant question of yours is this, that this godforsaken company, this disgraced, corrupt company, paid its way to get the requirements changed. So they were in the habit of paying. This is a bribe-giving company, and we want to put on blinkers in our country, Maroof, that who took the bribes. But I'm getting GVL and Sanjay Hegde on tonight because in the midst of our in-depth investigation that questions whether a scam of this nature could have gone on without political complicity, I have with me information, I'm willing to share this with the audience, that confidential, sensitive files were swindled by Agustawestland and sent to Italy. Confidential files swindled from the Defence Ministry and sent to Italy. I mean, this is a sellout of the highest level. GVL and Sanjay Hegde, please. Let GVL and Sanjay Hegde take that forward. GVL first, then Sanjay Hegde can respond immediately. Yes, GVL. Yes, GVL.
Arnab, I think this has been a fixed deal from day one, and the Congress party, the middlemen in this case, Christian Michel included, and Finmeccanica, they're all in cahoots with each other from day one. I think the benchmark price itself was set so high that even a single bidder situation, this could get passed off as a clear deal. And the information leak that you're talking about was meant to really facilitate their selection in the entire process. And let me tell you, let me give you an interesting piece of information. These Italian newspapers reported prosecution or investigation of Finmeccanica in February 2012, and the international business papers had this story. Indian media, you reported it in early February, early 2012.
It was following our reports.
But this government, the UPA government received delivery of 3 helicopters from Finmeccanica in November 2013, in November 2012. Nearly 9-10 months after this story broke out in the Indian and international media, they received 3 helicopters.
This is not fair.
And they were also
What is not fair? What is not fair, Rajiv Desai?
They were also pressed into service. Can I finish?
I'm coming to you after him. A lot of people have not spoken yet. I'm coming to you. 1 minute.
I think they should have. The Congress party has been spreading a web of lies for the last 3 days. Every statement that the Congress party has made is a blatant white lie.
Well, you know,
I am willing to discuss with them on issue by statement. Everything is a lie.
Okay, now
feel
GVL.
That they can cover up
now
this
GVL.
by
Now GVL, the other side tonight.
Why did they receive
the other side tonight? GVL, 1 minute. GVL.
Just one line, Arnab. Can I finish?
GVL.
Can I just finish?
Okay, quickly,
They pressed these helicopters into service. They made 556 hours of
Okay, patience, gentlemen.
You say
Patience.
And they made sorties
100 times.
Patience.
Why did this?
You say the same
Why was
thing
this done?
every
The
time.
company was in cahoots with
You say the same
Mechanica.
thing
Okay,
They wanted
Rajiv.
to pay them
Rajiv.
for the bribes.
Okay,
they have received.
Rajiv, 1 second. Rajiv, Sanjay Hegde, all of you who are not convinced, Asif, I'm going to come to you. Bear with me, Daniel Francis, I will come to you, and Kumar Ketkar, you can respond as well, because someone's going to open the batting from the other side. Before they do, I just want them to apply reason and national interest as the center point of their argument. I hope, Sanjay Hegde, with you, that's not asking for too much. The fact is tonight, and viewers are asking, not me tonight, the nation is asking today, not me tonight, that consider the gravity of the situation. You have evidence that classified documents from the Indian Air Force, documents about India's national security, have been leaked to Italy, and yet we have no information as to who the culprits or his associates are. What is a bigger breach of national security? What more remains to be sold to Italy or anywhere else?
Once I have to agree with RSN Singh.
Yes.
RSN is exactly right when he says this has been happening since independence. You must remember that very recently Shantanu Saikia was arrested for similar documents being taken from the
petroleum but who's going
ministry.
To be arrested for this?
You had the Larkins brothers. Just 1 minute. Let me go through the list first.
But who's the Shantanu Saikia in this case? Who's the Shantanu Saikia of this case? Who is the Shantanu Saikia of this case? Shantanu Saikia. Who is the Shantanu Saikia of this case? Who stole the documents? Who compromised India's security? Nobody's going to answer. Beyond questions.
That has to be somebody, some person.
Who somebody?
You have to find the
in opposition or in government. Why are you scared of saying so?
Put them on. Put them on.
What do you mean put them on? Put them on. What kind of an answer is that? Put them on. Documents of national security cannot be leaked without the role of an insider in politics, bureaucracy and elsewhere.
Leaked an entire pen drive. Do you remember that? Ravi Shankaran
so that justifies this.
Pen drive, and he was from
so
the
that
Navy.
Justifies this.
He is still stuck there in London because your extradition has failed.
Yeah. So who's the Ravi Shankar of this case? Not mine. Not mine. The UPA governments. Name the UPA government's extradition process failed.
The ship of state is the only ship that leaks from the top. Anything that you put as classified,
Rajiv Desai.
There are going to be
Rajiv Desai. The debate is open, gentlemen. The debate is open, gentlemen. What's Rajiv saying? Yes, Rajiv. Rajiv, listen. Rajiv, listen.
Arnab.
Yeah, okay. Aryama Sundaram coming to the debate. Aryama Sundaram and Rajiv. Okay, Aryama after Rajiv.
Arnab.
Yeah.
Arnab, with 1 minute. Arnab.
Okay, Aryman, please. Aryman, please. Aryman, please. Aryman first.
Arnab, with great respect to my very learned colleague, Mr. Hegde, you know, it's very easy to pass this off as military espionage is as old as the sea. The fact of the matter is we all do know that arguably the biggest lobby in the world is the arms lobby. We all know that the maximum amount of corruption internationally goes on in the arms trade. But what we are really asking is, this has hit home, and it's hit home very strongly. And now at every stage, it's like opening a can of worms. It starts with an issue of a possible middleman being involved, which we always turn around and say is not permitted in defense deals in India. You have the middleman involved. After the middleman's involvement, you have payoffs which are alleged all over. But I keep wondering how much deeper this is going to go, especially since the files which you have now unearthed are files which are in the Ministry of Defense, which are files which have been there not just today. These files didn't come into existence today. They have been there for a period of time. They have been there through the earlier dispensation. They have been there through 2 years of this dispensation, and I want to know what has been happening. Don't forget that in this case, it has been a scam from the very beginning. It's a scam from the stage of changing requirements. It's a scam from a person who has misrepresented his bid. If that bid with such fraudulent misrepresentation in an arms deal was accepted, it is either downright corruption or downright negligence. Either way, it was inexcusable. Then comes the situation of the payoffs themselves, and now comes the situation that we all have known from these defense files. It was obviously already known that classified information had gone out. And I want to know what has been done since that entry in the Ministry of Defense file, which referred to classified information having gone out, whenever that note was written, whether it was 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, what has been done about it? It's all very well to start playing politics, but basically
and a pattern.
Someone has to answer to all this.
No, and a pattern to this. And a pattern to
not
this.
Excuse it as and not excuse it as
and a pattern
as old as the sea.
And a pattern. And a pattern. And a pattern. Allow me to remind our viewers. Allow me to remind our viewers. Rajiv, just.
May I please?
Rajiv, please. Okay, Rajiv, go on.
What? Now, Arnab, when you step on the stage to receive the Academy Award for lead actor in a melodrama, please mention us in your appreciation speech. Please do mention us.
Have you finished your comic cameo, or do you want to continue making a serious point?
What else do you expect, Arnab?
What else do you expect? What else do you expect? We are talking about a serious issue. Are you making light of this? Are you making light of a security breach? Are you making light of a fraud investigation? Are you making light of thousands of crores of a deal in which 112 crores has been paid as payoffs? Are you making light of this?
The way you are treating it.
Well, you know something. You know something, Rajiv Desai. You know something, Rajiv Desai. Rajiv Desai, with the greatest of personal respect to you, I think your approach is misguided and foolish. Because I'll tell you, Rajiv Desai, allow us to remind our viewers that leaking of a classified information and jeopardizing country's security were not a novel affair in the UPA's tenure. Consider that not too long ago, corporate espionage exposed. Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about if you care to listen. I'll tell you what I'm talking about.
You know, your approach is give a dog a bad name and hang him. That's the way you approach everything.
Listen.
This is what I made light of, Arnab, was not the issue of national security. What I made light of was the manner in which you are treating a very serious subject like this in a blatant show of partisanship which favors the ruling clique.
Okay.
What are you talking about? You think we are stupid? We don't understand what's going on?
No, I don't. Now, have you finished your little rant? I'll tell you. Have you finished your rant? Then I'll tell you something.
You call it a rant?
Yeah, it's a bit of a rant. Now, I'll tell you, Rajiv, listen. Rajiv, listen.
You've been ranting.
Rajiv, listen. Since you are not aware of the facts, I want to enlighten you. And by the way, viewers, feel free for the panelists to come in. Agustawestland, the bidder in this case, and we are very serious, was not operating on its own but through an intricate web of companies all owned by Finmechanica. Point number 36, page 12, shows that while the bid was submitted by AWIL on a request for proposal by the Indian government in September 2006, in reality the execution of a contract was a joint enterprise of several companies in the FSPA group. FSPA stands for Finmechanica SPA, which is the ultimate holding company of AWIL. And pay attention and listen, because your rant does not justify all these facts. Point 36A11, that the one minute. See, I'm presenting serious facts. Simple facts. Page number 17 shows that AWIL did not comply with disclosure norms about agents and intermediaries and their activities at various stages and willfully suppressed relevant information, including the information about intermediaries and agents who were constantly acting towards facilitating the agreement and were also in such a process displaying means and approaches which were strictly prohibited. Such information, Mahesh Jethmalani, welcome. Such information was suppressed. Such information was suppressed. Allow me. Such information was suppressed even when the government of India specifically requested AWIL and group companies to disclose it, both in correspondence and in personal meetings. So what this proves is that Agusta was allowed by Indian politicians to violate a series of procedures while signing the VVIP chopper deal in 2012. Therefore, the deal was fraudulent to begin with, and bribes paid muddied the waters further. Now, Mahesh Jethmalani, further to this, my point is this, in a nutshell, and since you are exposed, since your prejudices have been exposed, I request you to be open with the facts. Mahesh Jethmalani, welcome. National security compromise, crores paid in payoffs, right? And a fraud deal signed. It becomes much bigger than just financial fraud. Mahesh Jethmalani, welcome to the debate. Everyone else free to come in. Mahesh Jethmalani, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's a defense fraud of gigantic proportions.
and I'm afraid Rajiv Desai is trivializing it, you're quite right in describing what he just said as an unworthy rant from a lawyer. This is a serious security issue. And not just that, there is something to be answered by this government as well.
I did not trivialize.
You did trivialize it.
I did not
trivialize it. I am sorry, you trivialized it. And first of all,
this debate.
Okay, everyone on, please.
What is so trivial about this debate? This debate happens to be on corruption in our defense forces. This debate happens to be on leakage of vital security documents.
Yeah.
Why is this debate trivial? Please tell me.
The manner in which it's being treated.
And if you find it so trivial, why are you participating in it?
Anyway, let's go back to the facts. Let's go back to the facts. Let's go back to the facts tonight. Does Kumar Ketkar have a response? Sanjay Hegde have a response? I see tonight even the art of defending the indefensible has been lost on the program tonight. Daniel Francis is free to come in. Daniel Francis coming into the debate. Daniel Francis responding to Mahesh Jethmalani. Daniel Francis.
Yes. How come a leading corporate house in India was allowed to sign along with Agustawestland in 2015 while they were actually knowing that Agustawestland is underground? Just last year, a leading corporate house, I don't want to name, was allowed to sign a major financial corporate technological deal with Agustawestland. And how come that was allowed by this government?
Well, in that case, that's a very serious issue and must be looked at.
Well, it has been reported. A leading so does it mean that the corporate houses are allowed to go into any fraud or any fraudulent deals?
Well, absolutely it doesn't. Does it mean that a deal with the fraudulence does not stop with the involvement of middlemen alone? That the papers reveal
it is not only men in uniform, it is not only journalists, it is not only corporate sector, it is not only politicians, it is not only bureaucrats.
Kumar Ketkar, I don't understand why you don't want to address the issues.
I am not defending anybody.
Aryaman Sundaram is into the debate. Aryaman Sundaram is into the debate, so is Mahesh Jethmalani.
Arnab.
Daniel, I'm coming to you.
Arnab, this raises a very important question. And the question is this, that if it was in the Ministry of Defence file, which you have now accessed, and if this was already there in the Ministry of Defence file, which hasn't come in yesterday, but has been there for a period of some time, how is it that Agustawestland or its any associate companies can even exist in India, can even be seen in India, can even get an audience? And it's all very well to go into politics
GVL respond, GVL.
But my question is in present time.
GVL.
In present time, how is this possible? Because it's in the files. You have seen what's already in the files.
GVL. GVL is responding. GVL.
Last 2 years.
1 second, GVL.
This company was operating in this country for last 2 years. This company was operating in the last 2 years under the very aegis of Modi government.
I will answer all the questions. All your lies I will expose.
Yeah, GVL.
I think it was FIPB clearance was given for the joint venture by the UPA government. Point number one. Point number two. You did not. Everything is a lie. You did not. The UPA government did not put this Finmechanica on hold or did not blacklist.
And
that was the first lie they made.
And the Modi government continued
and
with the FIPB.
And Finmechanica continues to be on hold.
Government's deal
on
was
hold is for
continued
the
by
Ministry of
NDA.
Defence.
Last year, it was continued
by NDA. If the Congress party wants to buy helicopters, if Sonia Gandhi wants to buy helicopters from Finmechanica, she can go ahead and do it.
NDA could have scrapped the deal.
Congress party can buy it. It's only for the Ministry of Defence.
Sanjay Hegde, please.
Either NDA politicians had something to gain or they completely compromised.
Sanjay Hegde was saying something.
No, Agustawestland was at the recent Air Expo where the Prime Minister was there.
Mahesh Jethmalani. Back to Mahesh Jethmalani.
No. Wasn't Augusta at the Air Expo this year?
Mahesh Jethmalani.
1 minute, GL, just 1 minute. Arnab, I do not want to digress by getting caught in issues that are totally irrelevant to this debate. This is a case of bribery and then covering up tracks and compromising national security and defense.
Let's focus on what should be done
Daniel.
by this government and why it's not being done so far.
Daniel.
All right, we have an excuse.
Daniel.
We were all waiting for the 8th of April judgment of the Italian appeal court. We've got that now. It gives you all the leads. The first thing you have to do is go to Giuseppe Orsi and Spagnolini, who are languishing in those Italian jails, and start questioning them. Secondly, most important, Arnab, and this is the most important fact, we want to know the bribe takers in India. The bribe takers in India can be found by one method. Guido Haske has been examined by the Italian court. He has identified pictures of Indian politicians whom he negotiated with, gave bribes to, and got to change specifications. He was given those photographs and he's identified by them. He's identified them. Forget Christian Michel now. Christian Michel is a slightly secondary figure. Go to Guido Haske, say, who are the people you negotiate with? Who are the Indian politicians? And by the way, the political class, Kumar Ketkar, is the biggest recipient of funds. The defense and the bureaucracy, the defense personnel and the bureaucracy got minor shares. 16 million euros went to a gentleman called AP. We all know who that is.
No, 3 million euros went to AP, whoever AP is. And 15 million went to FAM.
15 million went to the politicians.
No, 15 to 16 million went to an entity called FAM, which seems to be a reference to some family. I don't know what family it is. Okay, 1 second. Coming into the debate, we had Sanjay Hegde coming to the debate. We also had Daniel Francis. Yes, Sanjay.
All that was on a handwritten piece of paper. That is not evidence, as has been held in Jain Hawala, which Mr. Rajiv Desai argued.
GVL.
In Jain Hawala, everything, all names were there, including L.K. Advani, Madhavrao Scindia, and so many others. What is written on a handwritten piece of paper, which is not there in the regular course of accounts, does not necessarily become evidence in India.
Now listen.
All that I'm saying is that if you want to make a solid case, please do a solid investigation.
Are you telling us that Are you telling us the Milan court does not know what constitutes evidence?
Aryaman,
are you
can certainly investigate.
I am telling you.
I'm sorry, Arnab. I have to disagree with Mr. Hegde here. It may not be evidence, but it's certainly material on which an investigation can be launched, followed up, and it can be used for that purpose. It can be used for corroboration.
I've said you can use it to start an investigation, but that is not evidence. You certainly know the difference between suspicion and evidence.
Okay, Daniel, let's open up this part of the debate. Let's get a word in from Daniel.
We are at the stage of demanding further investigations, Sanjay.
Let's get a word in from Daniel. I'm coming back to Maroof Raza on the strategic part. Yes, Daniel, go on, make your point. Make your point if you wish to in the debate. Yes, Daniel. Daniel, please. Daniel.
Can I please get my 1 minute?
Yeah, go in. Nobody's stopping you. Yeah.
I just want to tell one thing that, first of all, I don't think there's anybody in this country that believes that there was no scam, there was no bribes given to anybody in India. Mr. A.K. Antony also believes it, and Mr. Manohar Parrikar also believes it. The second difference I want to really point out is that the Italian court in the last 2-3 years have concluded the case, implicated people, punished them, but our Indian investigations, even after government has changed, has reached nowhere. Third thing is that we need to know who are the bribe takers in this
obviously,
country.
But those are essentials, bare essentials of the case.
Please understand. Also, one important thing that needs to be put out in public domain.
No, but what's the new point you're making?
One important thing that needs to be put out.
What's the new point? The point is, please, let's talk about what we found out today. What we found out today is very, very important. What we have found out today, and please, I mean, don't have this approach, Sanjay Hegde, of burying your head in the sand and pretending that the world around you does not exist. Remember, I have with me today.
Of course, the world exists, but
I have with me today a patience. Patience for a while. Patience won't hurt.
It is another thing to get a conviction in court.
Well, listen.
Are you interested in a conviction in court?
Well, there will be a conviction in court if there is a proper prosecution. For God's sake.
About this, till the cows come home.
Not proper prosecution. If there is proper investigation.
You must do a solid investigation.
Okay, can you?
Last 2 years, proper investigation has not taken place.
Okay.
How can there be proper prosecution without proper investigation?
Mahesh Jethmalani at this point versus Rajiv Desai. If they can come into it, I'm going to name 2 people at a time. Come freely into the debate when I name you. My point tonight is, I believe in one thing, Rajiv. And the one thing that I believe in are official documents. Documents, as I have learnt over the years, don't lie. The Ministry of Defence document I have with me tonight, and I'm going to show you a very important part because people should know tonight. Right? Well, today Randeep Surjewala of the Congress party puts out a series of tweets saying this is what the nation wants to know, this is what the nation wants to know, etc., etc.
You want to hear the tweets
now the point is tonight. What the point is tonight. 1 second, sir.
From your
please,
saffron trolls.
Sir, what did you say? Okay, now I don't want to. Now listen to me. Now listen to me. Now listen to me. There are 14,642 tweets tonight. We're not short of them. The point is this: what the nation wants to know tonight is that there is this Ministry of Defence document.
Why should this?
Sir, there is a Ministry of Defence document, right? Okay. And the Ministry of Defence document says the Ministry of Defence, sir, argue on content, not on frills. The Ministry of Defence document says the Ministry of Defence document says that the government of India was induced to enter into an agreement based on false representations. Do we know how serious this is?
You already said that before.
No, I have not said this before. I'm going to.
That.
So my point is, was the government so gullible then?
You're repeating yourself.
Was the government so gullible then? It was induced with false representations. What is it that the UP? Why is it that the UPA Congress party woke up so late as it did into the reality of something that was seriously amiss in the submissions of a company called AWIL? I mean, are you going to argue seriously on that point? Rajiv, tell me, listen to me. You're wearing a tie tonight. Yes. You're wearing a tie tonight, okay? And you're wearing a tie tonight, okay? Someone gives you a pen and says, Rajiv Desai, imagine this is a tie, and when you come on Newshour, wear a pen and don't wear a tie. Will you do that? Obviously you won't. Then when this company comes and says, I'm an original equipment manufacturer, and it's found that it's not, why was a 3,500 crore contract given to a fraud company? Why did your Mr. Clean sign a fraud deal? Do you know the implications of signing a fraud deal? Well, maybe Mahesh Jethmalani should enlighten you. Mahesh Jethmalani, what are the legal implications of signing a fraud deal?
All I'm saying is,
what are the legal implications of signing a fraud deal?
Why don't we wait for the government to investigate?
Let's get Mahesh Jethmalani, Sanjay Hegde, please. Mahesh Jethmalani and Sanjay Hegde, please. Mahesh Jethmalani, Sanjay Hegde.
You want to give a dog a bad name and hang him.
Well, it's really sad that you call this melodrama. The fact is there was misrepresentation and concealment of facts during the signing of the deal, and I'm exposing it. You call it melodrama. There's misrepresentation and concealment for facts after the signing of the deal.
And concealment of facts for last 2 years.
And the point...
Why not wait?
Facts for last 2 years.
Okay, Mahesh Jethmalani, Sanjay Hegde, take it forward. Sanjay Hegde, Mahesh Jethmalani. Well, will the Congress party be candid enough?
NDA with the BJP. Will the BJP
I don't know this form of argument. 1 second.
BJP stop concealing of the facts.
Mahesh Jethmalani.
Last 2 years they have been sitting on the files. Why are they not releasing all the files and completing the investigation?
Well, will the Congress be candid enough to admit that the due diligence was not done while handling Agustawestland, the contract? Will it admit that it failed on every front to prevent the scam from unfolding, right from the signing stage to the involvement of middlemen to the payment of the bribes?
So BJP
That's the question tonight.
So BJP is
So
BJP is following the UPA footsteps.
Mahesh Jethmalani, Sanjay Hegde.
BJP is following the UPA footsteps of inefficiency and corruption.
Let's not pass the buck. Mahesh Jethmalani.
Arnab.
Yeah.
Arnab, there is enough evidence, thanks to the Italian judgment right now, the Court of Appeal judgment. There's enough evidence for this government now to work upon. They have all the material for the purpose for getting a really thorough, probative investigation, and to satisfy the likes, the doubting Thomases like Rajiv Desai and Sanjay Hegde.
What are the courts and judiciary in India doing? Mahesh.
Yes.
Who's speaking now? Bhamla.
Yes.
That's Asif Bhamla.
We have already made the Italian judgment a precedent. We have already made the Italian court's judgment a precedent. When are the Indian
courts have not made a
judgment?
No.
Mahesh.
1 minute. That's completely wrong. That's a wrong way.
Who should have raised this issue which the BJP has hijacked? Tell me, this was raised in the year 2013 when the Congress filed in the courts.
And Mahesh, do we trust Italian system more or Indian system more? Do we trust Indian intelligence or Italian intelligence? Do we trust Italian judiciary or Indian judiciary?
Okay.
Whose system do we trust
You trusted
more?
Kumar Ketkar, you have trusted
Indian intelligence or Italian
Kumar Ketkar,
which judiciary?
Kumar Ketkar, all these years, you have trusted a de facto Italian power center in this country.
Which army, whom do you
Kumar
trust
Ketkar,
more?
all these years, you have trusted an Italian de facto power center in this country.
You are trusting Italians more than I do.
You trust Sonia Gandhi all these years.
No,
You're giving her a clean sheet today.
Your party trusted Mussolini ever since Dr. Munje's days.
Your loyalties and that of Sonia Gandhi lie outside this country.
Who is trusting Italians more? At present,
Kumar Ketkar.
At present, you are trusting
Kumar
Italians
Ketkar.
more, and that has been your legacy ever since 1934.
Kumar Ketkar, thank you so much. I wasn't born in 1934.
I was also not born.
But in any event,
but I know the history.
I don't know what legacy you are talking about. But I know that your legacy is firmly rooted in Italy because you're a die-hard admirer of Sonia Gandhi.
Well, you are defending the Italian legacy which you claim to be supporting me.
Okay, gentlemen.
I am not defending the Italian legacy.
Gentlemen, while we debate this, a lot of our viewers tonight are making comments on the compromise of national security angle. So I believe I feel the imperative need to go back to that subject with Maroof and RSN, who are our security and internal security experts. Maroof, is that fact being buried under all this? The compromise of national security, espionage, stealing of files, can it all happen without some level of political support? Maroof.
Arnab.
Yeah.
Arnab, I was precisely with due. May I just request all the guests to give me 1 minute?
Sure.
I was precisely coming to that point that instead of diverting the issue at this point of time into political finger pointing at each other, let's go back to the two key national security issues. One is, if a breach did happen, which is in all likelihood it did, I think the job is cut out for the Raksha Mantri and the current government to fix the blame on where the breach happened in a due time-bound frame. So you say next 3 months an inquiry has to fix the blame, where it happened, how it happened. Let's not delay it and drag it, because reputations will continue to get sullied and the integrity of the entire service would come into question, which is not a good thing for the country. And the second thing is that these kind of scandals, as the Bofors effect did, for the next 25 years, the armed forces are already now with obsolete equipment, and if this kind of scandal is allowed to persist, the country will reach a stage where we reached in 1962, where we will be fit to be walked over by our enemy. So for God's sake, get to the end of it in a due time-bound frame, and let's wrap it up.
I cannot agree.
Absolutely, I agree with Maroof.
Yeah.
I not only agree with Maroof, the point is that you are getting into a dirty trade when you deal with arms. There is no way that you can actually keep middlemen out.
No, that's not.
This is the worldwide thing.
No,
the Saudis buy huge aircraft only because some prince or the other takes commission.
Don't play it down.
The point is this.
Sanjay, you're doing something very dangerous. Sanjay, you are doing something very dangerous right now. Sanjay, you are doing something very dangerous. You are telling us you are trying to underplay.
No, where your national security does not suffer, where you get procurement in time, and where you can minimize
this is not about what you are saying. You are making it look like this is a supply chain issue. It's not, for God's sake. It's a bribery, kickbacks, deceit,
because there will be only
bribery, kickbacks, deceit, and a national security issue. Agusta was stealing papers from our Defense Ministry and Indian Air Force and sending them to Italy. Our national security has been compromised. RSN wants to come in on that point. Our national security is compromised to an Italian company. Our national security compromised to an Italian company.
How did you get them? The same way a lot of people get them.
For God's sake, what are you talking about?
The whole of Delhi is leaking
for God's sake, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Asking you, I'm asking you.
1 second here, am I supplying choppers? Am I supplying choppers to the government? What are you talking about?
I'm sorry?
Be serious. Am I a helicopter manufacturer? To be serious,
no. How do you get the papers?
Crazy.
Because everything which is
so now how do we get the papers? Fine.
Exactly.
I'd say this.
You the law.
I say this tonight.
Straight out.
I say this, Mr.
Out.
Sanjay Hegde. Listen to me. I have got the papers. I have exposed the scam. I have raised the national security breach. I have said that this is a fraudulent deal. I have said that there were kickbacks paid. So, Mr. Sanjay Hegde, when you become Prime Minister of India, you can arrest me. Till then, we have a democracy. Yes, please. Yes, please. RSN, don't trivialize the issue. Don't trivialize it.
No.
RSN, national security issue can't be trivialized.
It. I'm telling you that a technical breach of law has
RSN, please.
happened already.
RSN, बोलिए.
अरे बोलने दो यार. ये.
अरे यार क्या ये इतना रोते क्यों?
Moot point here. अरे listen यार, listen. The moot point here is that till this entire issue centered around the former air chief. Nobody was bothered. I mean, he was one person who everybody played upon. The moment the political side of it and the public opinion side of it was exposed, now you see people hiding behind, that patriotism of uniform. What were these people doing when the former air chief was named first? And then why was he in the docks? If there was no wrongdoing by the said firm, I mean, why was he in the docks? So therefore, Mr. Hegde, let me tell you that the internal security considerations that Arnab has pointed out, it is far, far more serious and far more encompassing. It also somewhere is telling on your indigenous efforts.
Ravi Shankaran was from the Navy.
No, indigenous efforts.
And you have Tyagi.
I for one believe.
Everybody
that
in this
the political
country,
class,
at some
as
point
well
of the
as
time
some people in uniform, have sabotaged the indigenous efforts of this country, a country which can launch missiles, a country which can launch its own GPS system. You mean to say it cannot produce a rifle? Absolutely nonsense. So therefore, I am telling you there's a more serious side to it, because remember, you are sustaining the economy of many of these Western countries. That is why I call it a murderous. This arms lobby, I call it murderous because you are sustaining their economy. I know of so many deals, as you would know. It's common knowledge which have been made in the past
if
just
I
to bail out
don't
a
believe
president of US or maybe Prime Minister of USSR. We all know
RSN,
that. Is our country up for sale?
Sure. RSN, as I close
are
tonight,
we such third-rate people?
As I close this part
tonight,
and I have a big breaking story on the other side as well.
And you allow all our indigenous efforts to be sabotaged? And then you hide behind patriotism?
Mahesh Jethmalani, please. Mahesh Jethmalani making a counterpoint. Mahesh Jethmalani extending the debate by 5 minutes. Mahesh Jethmalani, then GVL. Mahesh and GVL. Mahesh and GVL.
That 90% of cases
Asif,
win or lose by themselves.
Mahesh,
and
GVL. Mahesh, GVL. Asif.
Here on your panel belong to that category.
One sec.
Arnab, can I ask a question to GVL?
Yes, go on. Why?
Compromise national security was the latest.
Yes, I'm extending by 2 minutes. You can ask a question. Yeah. I'm extending by 2 minutes. Yeah.
I think whatever the UPA had been saying for the last 3 days is the complete set of lies.
The Agustawestland was GBL. The Agustawestland was blacklisted during the UPA regime. We hear that the ban has been lifted.
Lie. It's a lie. Both are lies. You mentioned two lies.
For you mentioned two lies. As part of the PM Make in India.
The first.
Are you being coached to say this?
Can I expose you?
No, we only mention lies. It's only the BJP who talks the truth.
Well, I think we've got a completely different tangent.
The BJP, it is at the floor of the House. In the Parliament, you people do not want to even discuss this issue.
I want your cameraman to focus on this. Arnab, this is an important piece of information.
Okay, fine, you made your point. We made your point.
Tell me, why aren't you discussing this in the floor?
We made your point. Okay, 1 second. We made your point. GVL.
We are just trying to
GVL, please. Okay, you made your point, sir. You made your point. GVL.
The media tried.
GVL, what are you showing?
And I think the country
Arnab, this is a news point. I'm giving you a news point. Today, Pramod Tiwari of the Congress Party, a senior member of Rajya Sabha,
you always come with sensations.
A notice under 267. He raised a question and he withdrew it. He did not raise this question because he was told by his own party members, I think what you mentioned is an utter lie. We've been already exposed, so pull it out. He did not have the courage to raise this question. Under 267. There was no ban during the UPA tenure. They just started this, they moved a notice. Just a notice was moved on the 12th of May when they were already when they were on their way out after the elections of 2014.
Yeah.
But the order was issued on 3rd July by our government.
Yeah.
And there is no change in the status.
Okay, since you are showing documents, I will end with a document. Since you are showing documents, I will end with a document as well.
Congress has run away. Congress has run away from this question.
Mahesh has been raising his hand for a long time. Before I close tonight, this story is because, and viewers, I want to make a promise to you tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with more on this. Mahesh Jethmalani, yes please. Mahesh, before I close, I have a big...
May I ask you, why is your...
Mahesh Jethmalani, Asif, come on, don't repeat yourself. Mahesh.
Arnab. The volume of Congress apologists is getting...
You gave GVL Narsimha Rao the floor. The man doesn't know anything and you gave him the floor.
Arnab, the volume of Congress apologists on this program is getting louder and louder. The volume of the filibustering of Congress apologists on this program is getting louder and louder because the noose is tightening. The noose is tightening around all the Congress politicians. Their volume of the apologists and their filibustering will only increase.
Last word.
This is the clearest proof.
I have a document to show viewers because so many calling tonight saying, can you show us the Agusta Patrakar's document? Viewers a minute. Should I show it?
Viewers, don't forget it was
viewers, 1 second. 1 second. Are bhai, relax. Just 1 minute. Viewers on popular demand.
That the CBI
on popular demand. Because so many people are demanding. Asif Bhamla, just because you're a politician, do you always speak like this? 1 minute, please. Listen to me. Here is the Agusta Patrakar's document. Okay? This is the document. This is the document. Now, listen, Asif, listen. Asif, listen. Listen, Asif, please. Okay? You don't.
Please.
Now, one second. This is the Agusta Patrakar document, viewers, and I'm showing this tonight because I want to show you. I want to show you how people are selling out national interest. And viewers, you will remember that the last time there was a low point. Can I just explain? Last time there was a low point in the Indian media was during the Niraradia tapes, when it was shown that some journalists were doing dubious things with dubious people, representing some corporates, trying to influence, lobby, God knows what they were doing. Disgraceful moment for the Indian media. Now the point is, look at this appendix, Agustawestland Holdings and Global Services, Group Company, this is how India's journalism is being sold. Group Company Agustawestland, Customer Indian Air Force, Territory India, Products, it mentions the ongoing performance of the group company, etc., signed 2010. Services, to advise and assist the group company in maintaining different services. And in page 2 is the Agusta Patrakar's part, to identify and inform the company of any hostile press activities that may impact execution of the contract. Advise and assist the company in the development of risk mitigation strategies to minimize the impact of any hostile press activities. Provide the company with routine feedback on press activity with respect to the performance of the contract or any associated or contributing factors. Bottom of the page, subject to the following provisos, you will be paid a total of 22 monthly fee installments of 275,000 euros payable monthly in advance following the submission of the invoice. So what this basically means is that Christian Michael, the middleman in the Agusta deal, was being paid to handle the media, right? Then the media was being managed. And the fact is that, like in the past, some people have said that journalists can quote unquote convey messages under the garb of quote unquote stringing along. I don't know whether the same operandi is in play here. Given how sections of the Indian media use the Christian Michael letter to the Prime Minister virtually as a clean chit, are we to believe that something else is happening here? Given that Christian Michael drew up a list of targets, why is it any surprise that the media was part of an elaborate plan? And viewers, tonight, in all honesty, we must ask ourselves, is this the tip of the iceberg? How many such lobbies, how many such middlemen, how many such PR people are active in Lutyens, Delhi and have made inroads into the Indian media? And if journalists can be on the payrolls of middlemen, isn't it entirely possible that some of them could be on the payrolls of middlemen and politicians? Ladies and gentlemen, I am raising this tonight because in a certain context, the Neera Radia episode had proved that the media was, parts of the media were unfortunately embedded with the political class. This Christian Michael note, this payoff, is a moment of reflection. I hope that there is that moment of reflection in my profession too. Now viewers, there's much more coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a fresh expose, and trust me, on the Augusta scam, this scam could not just be bigger qualitatively. There's the only hint I can give now. This scam could be much bigger quantitatively as well. Tomorrow at 9 p.m. I'll tell you why. Till then, we have another big story on the other side.
Why are the senior leaders of the BJP not discussing this at the floor of the House, Arnab?
Listen.
Arnab, why are the senior leaders of the BJP not discussing this at the floor of the House?
Listen. Now the point is, you should also ask tonight the story of the empty chair. And while we expose so many things that happened in the Congress regime, why we have an empty chair from the Congress party, you should ask why Rahul Gandhi is not able to send a single Congress representative to answer questions here. Do you want a comfortable situation, Mr. Rahul Gandhi? We can't provide you the comfort. We are journalists. We are not Agusta Patrakars. So please, for God's sake, send your representative when you feel you have the confidence to. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1 with the promise much more coming up tomorrow on the Newshour Tonight.